Hey, welcome to the third edition of Sports Pod. My name is Brandon,
And I'm Malox Mike.
and Mike, we got a lot of sports to catch up on from the past few weeks, and a lot of sports to talk about.
That's true.
Um,
Absolutely.
Biggest one, what's happening tomorrow is UFC 196.
Correct.
McGregor versus Diaz is our main event.
Yeah.
Before we had McGregor versus Dos Anjos.
Mm-hmm.
Dos Anjos broke his foot it came out that he broke his foot about 10, 12 days before the actual fight.
Right.
Nate Diaz actually stepped up and now is going to fight Conor McGregor. It's not a championship fight. It's just going to be just a regular, just a typical match.
Did you see his foot? The picture of his foot?
Was it nasty?
Oh, it was nasty.
Oh.
Yeah, it was gross. It was swollen.
For a second there, I thought he was kind of
faking it.
Yeah,
No.
but
from what I saw, he posted.
Yeah,
he posted something to his a picture to his Instagram.
Did he?
And it was just bruised and blue and purple and all the beautiful colors of a broken foot, and it was swollen. I mean, it was like 4 times the size of a normal foot.
So I'm guessing he's not faking. He's in probably serious
Right.
pain.
Unless that was somebody else's foot. But yeah.
It's just like, hey, let me see your foot real quick. Another big fight is Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate.
Yeah, Misha. Love that girl.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. No.
So are you pulling for Miesha? Or are you going for Holly?
I don't know.
I'm pulling for Holly because I want to see the rematch. That's the only reason.
That's.
I don't have anything against either one of them.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of indifferent on the matter. I do want to see the rematch between Holly and Ronda. I think it's going to be one heck of a fight.
UFC 200.
Yeah. So I'm pulling for Holly for that matter. I wish the best to both of them. But I think it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, before you pick,
Uh-huh.
let's go. We got 3 matches before on the main card.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson versus Lawler.
Oh man.
So you're looking at 205. So it's light heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
You got Corey Anderson, who's number 12th in the division, is 8-1 all overall, and Tom Lawler, is 10-5 with. Let's see, I'm trying to see who's got the advantage. Anderson's got the height advantage and the reach.
Yeah.
And the leg reach. I'm just on stats. I honestly can't say I've seen them fight very many fights, but I'm going with Corey Anderson on this one.
Yeah. I think on paper Corey takes the cake.
Yeah.
I think something can be said for Lawler. As far as his
listen
tenacity.
to this. He's got significant strikes landed per minute. You got Corey Anderson at 5.37. And Tom Lawler at 2.58. So he's got He's got almost 3 more strikes landed than
per minute,
yeah.
which is a lot actually.
And he's got a little bit better accuracy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it just by paper. I'm taking Beaston 25-8. 25-8. I'm sorry. Against Filthy, I'm taking him over Filthy.
Over Filthy.
That being their nicknames.
Yeah, I'll go with Anderson. I think it should be a good fight. Hopefully.
Yeah.
You got another one?
Yep. I got Amanda Nunes versus Shevchenko. I maybe butchering that. They're 135, which I think is same class as Holmes and Rousey and Miesha Tate. There looks like Nunes is 11-4. She's Brazilian. Shevchenko is
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, is 12-1.
Excuse me.
Height goes to Nunes. Reach Nunes. It's very, very close. Leg reach. Apparently, Shevchenko has never measured that because she's 0 inches. I guess she hasn't been really measured.
They don't care over Kazakhstan.
Honestly, I've never seen either one of them fight. I don't know if you've seen Nunes fight. I know she's number 4 in the division.
I saw highlights. I've never sat down and watched a fight. I've seen highlights.
I can say Shevchenko looks like a bigger girl than Nunes, but that doesn't always mean anything. She's Nunes is Brazilian. She probably can take her to the ground. I'm not quite sure, but her landed or significant strikes landed per minute. Nunez is in favor with 4.17 and Shevchenko at 2.13.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe Shevchenko is more of a grappler. If she gets her to the ground, I don't know. I mean, I know obviously being Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, she'll have a number of things in her repertoire. Nunez will, but I think if Shevchenko gets her to the ground, I think she'll overpower her.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm gonna go with Shevchenko on this one.
All right. Cool.
Who'd you say?
Shevchenko.
Oh, you said him?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, just to be different, I'm gonna say Nunez.
Nice. Why not?
All right. So we got Valente versus Latif.
Mm-hmm.
I may be butchering all these guys' names. I apologize. I'm terrible with names. Again, Valente has a little bit better on the height reach and leg. Well, I'm not sure about leg reach, but and again on significant strikes, he's got 4.09, and the opponent is at 1.91. Just by numbers, I'm going with Valente on this one. They're also in the light heavyweight division.
Right. 205. Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to go with the sledgehammer from Sweden. Sweden.
All right, so I'm Valente. You got the sledgehammer. Let's get back to Home and Tate.
I'm rooting for Home. Like I said, purely because I also want to see the rematch. I think it's going to be a good fight, and I wish the best to both Misha and Holly.
Yeah. On paper again, Misha is at a disadvantage. I mean, height, you're looking at 68 inches to 66. Reach is about 4 inches difference, and leg reach is about an inch difference. But your significant strikes landed, and again, this is dating back to past fights. Something can change. But Holly Holm is 10-0 overall on her record, and Misha 17-5. You said you're going with Home just purely on the fight aspect, just seeing
wanting to see
I think I'm with you on that one. And my favorite guy,
Nate Diaz.
Yes. No. Conor McGregor. I'm a huge Conor fan. I'm not really sure how you really feel about him. I know you don't. I know you're not a big arrogant, cocky kind of person.
Yeah. I think I'm going to tell you right now what I think of Conor McGregor.
Uh-huh.
As you stated, you've known me for many years. I love the pouring of the water that we're drinking here. No, you're good. I love, I'm not a fan of the people who, talk a lot of smack. I've always felt that let your play or athletic ability do the talking. So obviously in basketball, let your play, or in any sport. Like I said, whatever ability you may have, I feel that you should be able to, let it out on the field, court, octagon, whatever you want to call it. However, Conor McGregor is one of very few athletes
that can back it up.
Exactly.
That's what I like about him. I saw, and you're not gonna like this, I saw a comparison the other day. It was McGregor is the well, geez, I forgot the quote now. What is it? Oh, no, I'll get back to me. So you were saying he's someone.
Yeah, before I was rudely interrupted. No, he's one of the very few that can actually back up whatever he's talking. Now, that doesn't make me like the fact that he talks smack.
Yeah.
But, like I said, it's one of the...
If someone can do that and back it up.
Yeah, you see it so many times in sports these days. Everybody talks trash, and hardly any of them can live up to, their mouths, usually.
But he's stepping up in class.
Yeah, that's
a big thing. He jumped up to 170.
Yeah. Did you see that picture, the before and after? And it said salads, proteins, or something.
He looks big. For his weight class, for what he looked like before. I just would like to see kind of typical. He can get it done in the early rounds, but I want to see if he can last, if he can go the distance, or if he, how far he can go, and see if he still has stamina at the end. After gaining this weight, after basically seeing his transformation from what he was at to what he is now. I just really was hoping he was going to go for 2 belts or be champion in 2 divisions, but I guess we got to wait for a later date for that. I'm picking McGregor. Notorious.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Diaz fan. I mean, he's kind of the same way. However, I've seen him lose plenty of fights after he's talked so much smack. And I mean, as a fighter, you got to be confident in yourself. But there's a difference to me between confidence and cockiness. And I think both of these gentlemen are full of both, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I think it's gonna be exciting.
A little extra news was the fight that almost broke out.
Oh, yes, the weigh-in. Diaz, when they were posing, doing a little picture taking, right. Diaz was like this,
which is normal.
McGregor, and McGregor just, he does antics like that. He does that, but under their skin. I feel like Diaz got under his skin. He then
just kind of
hit his wrist away, and then
Dana
was like, whoa, and it was I think it was a little bit over exaggerated. He just pushed it. It wasn't like he swung at his face or anything. I just feel that may have been taken a little too far, but so moving on from UFC. Did you say McGregor on that one? I didn't catch it. Okay,
I think McGregor's gonna win.
All right, so you're picking McGregor. Moving on in NFL, just basically touching on some topics. Free agency is about to start up. I know we had some franchise tags placed on some players this past couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think 7 in total. Biggest name, I wouldn't say big name. There's a few big names that actually landed. There's one surprise for me.
Which one was that?
But first off, Von Miller. I wasn't surprised by that at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody was surprised.
Everybody knew that was coming. They would.
I know I wasn't surprised. I know somebody that I knew of mentioned that he wasn't sure they would put that.
Yeah, but
just kidding.
Stuff happens. You read some false information sometimes. So.
It is a lot of money.
Yes.
I mean, it's a buttload of money.
But after a Super Bowl performance, there was just no doubt that they were going to do that.
You can't let that go into free agency.
Yeah. Josh Norman, I expected that to happen too.
He had a good year.
I know there was mention, I believe that they were questioning should they do it, but I mean the year he had, I just loved when him and OBJ
when they were going in their scuffle.
Yeah, when they were fighting. Biggest one I think Kirk Cousins. I just think
surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't think he had a good year last year. I can't say he had a bad year, but they still were very they average at best. They're in a bad division. Again, 3 teams did terrible.
They were average in a bad division.
Yeah, like exactly. Yeah. I felt like he had one good year. He's a good quarterback. It surprised me that they put the franchise tag on him.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite quotes last year of him were he threw, I think, a few picks in the game. He said, "Well, yeah, but at this point last year, these aren't as bad of interceptions as I threw before."
Yeah, the year before that was terrible. Oh,
but
I'm surprised that he was on the team after that point. I thought he was gone.
I just thought that was one of the oddest comments you could ever make. Like, hey. I knew I threw some picks, but
it's not as bad as last year.
I wasn't as bad as last year. I was just like, really?
You like that?
No, what?
That's it. Did you see that?
Oh, No.
He went to the report after the game. He looked at the report and said, "You like that?" Going on from that.
I'm wondering why you're screaming at me.
Eric Berry.
Eric Berry, my boy. Yeah. Safety out of Kansas City. Yeah.
Don't disagree with that at all. Alshon Jeffrey again. I don't.
Yeah, that's the Bears kind of. They don't have many options.
They need an offensive line. Is what they need.
I don't.
I think that's the biggest thing that they're looking for.
Muhammad Wilkerson.
There we go. Yep. Of the Jets. Jets. Signed him. And who else we got? There was one more.
Oliver Vernon.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Of Miami Dolphins.
A lot of people think he had a very mediocre year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was one of those which I think, as any kind of NFL fan, you get a player, or you have a player who's got an enormous amount of athletic ability, and they may not perform to your expectations. Yeah. And I think that was maybe the case with him. I don't know if he had a bad year. I think maybe in correlation with his ability, he might have had a mediocre year. But
I think the Dolphins went through a lot last year. Going through the coaches. Last couple of years, they've been it's been kind of tough.
Do J-Lo and Mark Antony still own the Dolphins? I don't know.
They're not together anymore, so I don't expect
do
them
they
to.
have co-owners?
I didn't even know that existed. That was the thing.
Yeah, me either. I don't know what you're talking about.
Another thing that's happening here in the next few months is the draft.
Yeah,
there's just a few people basically. I've been looking just on different mock draft boards just to see kind of thing, just top 10.
Right.
10th, you got New York.
Right.
I really think they need something on offense. I felt like Eli was pressured a lot the last couple of years. Maybe not O-line, maybe a tight end. But this is early in the draft, Typically those come later. But they're looking at Shaq Lawson from Clemson, a defensive end. I feel like they're pretty decent on defense. I don't feel like they struggle a lot. This one actually surprised me. I've seen him drop recently. This I actually thought the Cowboys would pick up at 4. Joey Bosa out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
A lot of comparison to J.J. Watt.
He didn't have a good combine, did he?
The numbers I saw, he put up very very similar to J.J. Watt. But I guess you could also say probably J.J. Possibly didn't have a good he went a little bit later in the draft, not later, but not top 3.
Yeah.
So let's see, Dolphins looking at a cornerback. They I think they could definitely thrive off that. Vernon Hargraves from Florida, probably butchering that game again. San Francisco, and this is what surprises me. Jared Goff, he's from Cal.
Right.
I saw him play against UT this year. Played really good. Off and on. This whole year he was off and on. He was hit and miss. He'd have a great game and then he'd kind of struggle a little bit.
Right.
I'm curious to see if Chip Kelly's going to try to push for Kaepernick to stay, because I believe Kaepernick's a free agent this year. And
is he?
I may be 100% wrong on that. Let's see.
I thought he might be in his last year. I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
But yeah, basically you see what Chip Kelly wants to do in his first year. Looking at the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame, offensive tackle. They could probably they definitely need that. Flacco was under a lot of duress last year. Number 5, outside linebacker Miles Jack from UCLA to the Jaguars. Cowboys looking at a defensive end.
Another defensive end.
I'm not sure how DeForest Buckner's combine went. I didn't really get to catch much this year, but he's out of Oregon. Let's see, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, surprisingly, when you don't get paid full time to listen to sports, or catch up on sports.
A lot of we've both been really busy this past few weeks, but let's see. Yeah, RG3 and Kaepernick were ranked among top free agents, quarterbacks. I'm curious to see, because just basically how he's treated in San Fran, I feel like he's out the door. I don't feel, Chip Kelly's coming in, but I think he's got a sour taste in his mouth. I think he wants to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Although, you gotta, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the whole arrogant side of it. When he was hot, when Colin was playing really well, there was no denying. Yeah, There's no denying he was into himself. Now he's not playing so well, and it's just like
he's just growing a beard now.
That's right. Yeah, true. And it kind of comes down to the whole Cam thing. I mean, how do you take adversity? How do you know?
I think Cam, like, a lot of people are saying they were curious how that kind of quarterback, a running and a throwing quarterback would come into the league, or how they would do in the NFL.
Right.
RG3 had a great first year, his rookie year, and he, kind of
right.
He was under a lot of pressure, injuries, dealing with a bunch of stuff coming into his sophomore season. But I think Cam has been consistent. They've had some years that they, won 5-6 games. One year I think they were under 500 and still made the playoffs. But he's been consistent. Maybe his team around him hasn't been consistent, but I feel that I just feel Kaepernick's out. He's a good quarterback. I just think he needs a new system. He just needs a new start, fresh start.
Cap?
Back to the picks. We get 3 left. The Bolts, San Diego, soon to be Los Angeles.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey out of Florida State's a cornerback, and Browns picking yet another quarterback out of North Dakota State, Carson Wentz. And these are all speculative. These aren't actually they actually picked. These are just different boards that we've kind of put together and looked at it ourselves. In Tennessee, going with an outside tackle, Laramie Tunsil out of Mississippi, Ole Miss. A lot of defense out of there. A few quarterbacks.
Ole Miss, yeah.
I'm really curious. I'm looking forward more to free agency than anything. I'm not. The draft's going to be great. There's a few exciting players that are going to come out of it, but I think I would like to see where these guys are going to land. Let's see what else we have.
Well, speaking of free agents, a few, not all, but I would say a few of the top free agents that we have. One of them would, in my humble opinion, would have to be Malik Jackson. From the Broncos. He's arguably probably the top free agent, especially on defense, that we have coming out, especially since they tagged Miller. If he would have been a free agent, I think he would have clearly been number one. Jackson came out of Denver with very similar stats, actually, to another free agent, but 5.5 sacks, had 34 tackles, 12 assists, 2 fumbles, recovered, and 7 passes were defense, deflected. And him and actually another free agent, Bruce Irvin, had very similar stats. I believe Bruce Irvin was also 5.5 sacks. He had about 35 tackles total, and 38 with 6 assists. And the free agency or the free agent market this offseason is going to be an interesting one, to say the least.
On my radar, I know you got Bruce and Malik Jackson. I've been paying attention to Doug Martin.
Right.
He had north of 1,400 yards of rushing last year.
He had somewhat of a rebound year.
Yeah, and there were some games, he 48, 49 yards, and then I think there's one he had like 220, 230. Only 6 TDs, but had a really good rushing season. Rushing yards season. 288 attempts, 1,402 yards rushing. Another one, I don't see them being a big. Someone may think differently, but Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Right.
I think he brings a lot of bag. Not so much anymore, but really with penalties. Like, say, for instance, when they played Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Late in the game, just bad decisions.
Right.
Just very bad decisions.
Which, from a veteran, you really hope for. I mean, how long has Pac-Man been in the league? Is it okay to still call him Pac-Man? I know for a while he said his name was Adam, but
I've always called him.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody. Pac-Man Jones.
Let's see, he came out in 2005, so he's been in basically 10 years this past season. So
yeah, that's very more than enough.
32 years of age
to not make dumb mistakes.
Yeah, I could see him probably landing back with the Bengals. He did have a pretty good career with the Bengals last however many years he was there, a couple of years.
Yeah.
I just would like to see him kind of cut back on all the
idiocracies.
Yeah, he was there for 5 years. He was with the Cowboys for 1 year in 2008. Actually missed the 2009 season, and then from 2010 to 2015 was.
I remember that, and he had a horrible year with the Cowboys. Maybe not horrible. No, he had a bad year.
Yeah. So, I've got that, and then you got any other guys you want? Gates.
I had Antonio Gates. Probably, I would say probably the top tight end in free agency.
Yeah.
Last year he had, no, he did. He had a pretty mediocre season. He had 630 yards, 56 receptions, 11.2 as an average, and his longest reception, which I didn't remember, I thought I would have, was his 40-yarder, and then he had 5 touchdowns. So, the Chargers, with the lack of explosiveness that they, I guess, meant for or expected, from Melvin Gordon, Gates, I feel should have produced more. Rivers is a good enough quarterback to make things happen.
Yeah.
And I think Gates is a smart enough player to be on the other side of that. Now, he's had, the past 2 seasons before this, he had over 800 yards each season, and receiving yards. And then obviously even, I think it was 2009. 1,000, almost a little over 1,100 receiving yards. So, he's had very, very good seasons.
Yeah.
He's had, like I said, this last season was kind of mediocre. I think in the right system, if it's not with the Chargers, he could really flourish. Again, from your tight end, you don't need the most yards.
Yeah.
You don't need you need them
consistent.
Day in, day out.
Yeah, you gotta be consistent. You're not gonna be throwing to him.
Right. Yeah. He's not every play.
Yeah, he's just there, bail you out, and to get those tough yards, and in the red zone. Come in the factory.
Make your blocks. Make your just come to practice and
another something I actually didn't mention, which I'm pretty excited about. Someone else that got franchise tagged that we didn't mention.
Hey, we didn't mention?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Justin Tucker.
Oh yeah, he did.
The best kicker.
He got
in the National Football League.
Everybody hated it. Well, not at UT, but against him when he played for UT. Mm-hmm. They hated when he was punting. Remember when he would punt?
Mm-mm.
Remember?
Mm-mm.
Wasn't he the one that had like not the horrible, but like the very strategic
the rugby punt?
Yeah. I thought that was Tucker.
I
could have sworn that was Tucker.
You might be right. I gotta look this up. Moving on from football.
Sorry, Justin, if I was
No, I'm gonna look it up.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just don't know if it was. He got paid though. Congratulations. Yeah. That's awesome.
Justin Tucker. Yeah. Apparently did. But basically going to MLB. Spring training is full swing. We it's day 2, day 3, so really not going to jump into anything too crazy on that. But basically just kind of go over early predictions, just a little few storylines that have happened so far. I know you have one.
Oh, yeah. Cespedes?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm looking for, because I know I saw it. I can't remember which one it was. There we go. So Cespedes had a different car for pretty much every day of the week. On Sunday, he came in rolling with a big old
F-250 Platinum.
diesel, probably drunk. On Tuesday and Wednesday, he came in with some supercars. On Thursday, and Friday he chose to roll in with a lifted, all decked out Jeep.
Did you see that? It looks like it has eyes. It's kind of like if you look at the headlights.
Yeah,
there's a little thing that kind of makes it look like it's a lot.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, these are all owned by Cespedes.
Yeah,
right?
Yes,
yeah.
They're all custom made from. Oh man, now I gotta look it up. It's a place out of California, that does custom cars. But yeah, yeah, I know. I gotta find this out now.
This is why people, I don't want to say hate the MLB. This is one of those things where you, from the outside looking in, you get paid ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, they look at the Powerball and laugh. I feel like I don't know.
I think they would even.
I mean,
appreciate
who wouldn't want to win the Powerball?
But I mean, like I think we touched on last week or the last time on Sports Pod. Bryce Harper could be the first person with a $400 million contract, which is just, when you think about all, he gets to go out and play his favorite sport, his passion, and get paid that type of money.
It's ridiculous. Congratulations. I mean, when you have that kind of ability, but from the outside looking in, it kind of sucks.
But early predictions, I was kind of upset that I think the Cubs. I've been saying it for the last couple of years. Cubs in 2016. I was upset that one of my favorite players that is on the Cubs was traded to the Yankees. And Starlin Castro. I was upset about it, but still really respect the Cubs. I've been hoping for them to get over the hump, but I really think that's my prediction. My early, March 2016 prediction. I don't know what you're feeling like.
Well, right now I really want to be a fan, and go for my team. I think realistic. Well, I'm gonna try and speak objectively here. I wouldn't disagree with you as far as the Cubs. I think it's no secret that we're Rangers fans.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see the Rangers come back and actually win one. Past few years they were there.
They were in the playoffs. It was and they did come up against a really, really good Blue Jays team. And unfortunately they did lose, but
at the end of last year though, the second half of the season,
they came on strong. Big thing is they got their pitching back. Last year they were hurting on pitching. Yu Darvish is back. He'll be back. I think probably towards the end of May.
Can't wait.
Holland will be healthy. Derek Holland will be healthy. I know what's his name. Josh Hamilton will be out till probably late May, but I'm sorry, late April. But he'll be back. He's had another surgery on his knee, but he's due back probably 2-3 weeks into the year. But another big story is it's Big Papi's last year. He came out and announced that he's going to be retiring.
Big Papi.
It's going to be. I feel like it's going to end, which is good. And another thing, like how Jeter was, 2 seasons ago. No, 2 seasons.
It was
2 seasons. I can't believe it's been a year without him.
Yeah.
But basically, kind of a farewell, kind of what like's going on to Kobe right now, in the NBA, just kind of a farewell tour. I mean, he's a crazy clutch guy. Known for his hitting, not really fielding. He's DHing, but just when it comes down to it in the playoffs, just you can rely for a big hit or a big moment from him. I'm trying to find. Sorry, I'm still trying to. Auto Firm. There we go. It's the Auto Firm is that did Cespedes vehicles. That did all of them were custom.
That would bother you.
Sorry, I needed to find that.
Rather than, it's gonna be a crazy farewell tour. He's one of those names that it's kind of no question.
Yeah,
Hall of Famer.
First ballot. Yeah, I definitely no question.
Sorry about that. Speaking of Hall of Fame, did you hear what I believe was what they said about Tio, or Marvin Harrison said about Tio? Mm-hmm. That was
well, for people who haven't heard, what do you have? What it?
The actual quote, I can paraphrase.
Okay.
Basically, he said it doesn't matter whether T.O. gets in or not. Excuse my language, but he said to hell with him.
Yeah.
I was like, strong words from Marvin Harrison.
I respect Marvin. I'm not saying he's right.
Right.
I'm just saying I've always respected him as a man, as a football player. I know towards the end of the season, I think he got into some issue or something, but nothing ever came about it. But moving on to NBA, we're about 2 weeks behind. But last sports pod, I asked you 3 different games that were going on, and just wanted to kind of follow up and see how you did on those games real quick.
I don't know if I did well. But let's do it. Let's go for it.
Cleveland, OKC. You picked Cleveland.
I picked Cleveland.
Cleveland did prevail.
It came out.
They came across 115-92 over the Thunder. Toronto versus Memphis. I picked Toronto. I think you really agreed with me. You never really stated.
I don't think I said.
But Toronto came out on top against Memphis on that one. 98-85. And the last one was LA Bulls. You selected, I think we both selected LA.
Yeah, we both selected LA.
And Chi-Town actually came out with the win. The Bulls came out with the win without Jimmy Butler, who's still out, but they're saying it is making progress and should be back here soon.
Good.
Which both of us are both huge Jimmy Butler fans. Yeah. So hoping he gets back soon. But NBA standings and predictions kind of for the rest of the year. Right now, if we look in the West, I really feel like the top 2 seeds are locked up.
I think
they both have clinched playoff spot at this point. 3 and 4 is actually closer than I expected. Being 1 being Golden State, 2 being San Antonio, 3 OKC, who just lost. They've lost their 3rd game to Golden State in the last month and a half. They played them twice in about a week and a half. So Golden State's running on a 7-game streak, so a San Antonio win streak. Oklahoma's at 14 games back behind Golden State. LA is only a game back behind Oklahoma, and they actually just beat. Did you see that game the other night? Oklahoma was up by 20 points against the Clippers.
LA Clippers.
Yeah, the Clippers. Sorry, I was babbing. Can't even talk now.
You mean the Lakers aren't in the
No, I'm sorry. The Clippers. They were up 20 points against the Clippers.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles. Los Angeles came back and pulled it off. And Westbrook. I don't know what's wrong with him. He may be injured. I don't know what's wrong. He's just. I saw a stat the other night. He is 5 of 34 coming into fourth quarter. A winning shot or a go ahead or a tying situation. He should 5 of 34 in fourth quarter and overtime.
Makes sense. Do you remember if it was SVP the other day or Coward that said he relies too much on his athletic ability? Which I don't know if I disagree with, but I don't. He's an athletic freak of nature, I think. There's times, and the crazy thing, he's averaging 24 points and 10.5 assists a game. He's averaging a double-double. Top 3 in MVP votes this year for sure. Definitely having a stronger year than KD, but KD is still you can't not give him the ball in that situation. Unless he's being doubled, you're going to kick it out to Westbrook. Westbrook shouldn't, I think, should not have the final shot. I think what's going on right now in OKC is eventually going to lead KD to leave OKC. For a while there, I thought they were going to stick together, but I just think with what's going on, and it seems like everybody's trying to push it to be Westbrook's team, right? Westbrook over KD, and you can't overshadow KD on that. I think. And you look at the 8th seed in the West, and you've got the Houston Rockets, which I think we touched on it last time. How there's some locker room troubles.
I feel that they are going to be a surprise team. That I'm pretty sure they're going to make the playoffs. They made some late. They just picked up Michael Beasley, who I feel like should be in the NBA. I don't know why he's not.
Yeah.
He was in China.
He's difficult to guard. I feel
his length is difficult. He can post you up. He can shoot a three.
Yeah.
You know.
He's
like Dirk, not as good as Dirk, but he's got that game like.
He's
Dirk
still
has.
versatile. I mean, very versatile.
I'm just surprised. There's many people in this league I look at and wonder why how'd you get in the NBA, and it's like, Michael Beasley is over. He was MVP over in, I believe he was playing over in China, and they just signed him, so he just came over. So he's picked up. They traded for Josh Smith, Josh, is that his name? Josh Smith. No, I got that's in the bottom. No, you good. From the Clippers, who actually was on the Rockets last season, was signed in free agency by the Clippers, and then traded back to the Rockets. So I think they've got some late game or late pickups to really help them out throughout the season. Portland in the 7th seed, they're going to be moving up. That's just a very strong team. I would love to see Portland go against the Warriors in the first round. Yeah. I would much rather have the Spurs face the Mavericks in the first round than the Portland. But Mavericks are sitting at 6, kind of tied right now. They're both at 23 games back with them and Portland.
You never know. Spurs could drop down to 3.
No. That's that's there's 21 games left. They're 14 games ahead of. 11 and a half games ahead of.
You know, the crazy thing is, and we touched on this again last time, is if Golden State wasn't doing so hot and they weren't doing so well. The
Spurs, the Spurs, if you look at it, the Spurs have 21 games left and they're 52-9.
Yeah.
They're on their best record, and it's just Golden State, like you were saying.
Yeah,
they're being overshadowed by Golden State, but both of them.
Yeah, the Spurs
are on pace to have the 3rd best record of all time in the NBA. As of right now, and things can happen throughout the season. They might be resting. They face Golden State 3 more times. Who knows? The outcome on those.
Their point differential, I believe, is the best in the NBA. If not, I know the best in the West at 12.5.
They by far have the strongest defense. You look at it; they allow 92 points per game, the opponent's points per game. That's top in the top 8 on the West, and actually top in the West Division. And let's check the East. Top overall in the NBA. Golden State, the opponent's points per game is 104. They're 12 points higher than what San Antonio puts up. A lot of people say, Golden State beat San Antonio in their first matchup. Yeah, they did.
Spurs had a bad game.
Spurs had a bad game, but they beat the Spurs. It was embarrassing to watch. I had to turn it off after about the second quarter. There was times where it looked like San Antonio was going to come back in a game, and they hurt themselves with turnovers. But March 19th they play in San Antonio, which right now San Antonio is on a 29-game home win streak. Yep. Golden State's on a 26. Game home win streak.
Carrying to last year, what is it, like 40 something?
Golden State's 40. They're tied for the best all time with the Bulls right now. Yeah. So if they win their next home game, they'll have the best, overall. Yeah. But as one season, I believe the Spurs are tied for first right now with 29. So they're going for 30. I believe tomorrow on Saturday, but they can't quote me on that. But moving over, and then Memphis is sitting at 5. I see possibly the Clippers moving up to 3. Oklahoma moving to 4. I see Portland moving up. Other than that, Dallas is gonna. I think Houston's gonna make it in. Utah I just don't see them getting in there. About 2.5 games back behind the Houston and sitting in 9th. Do you agree with that? Do you think anything different?
I think that's fair.
The bottom 5 or bottom 4. There's going to be a little bit of movement. I think it's basically how it's set right now is who it's going to be. Not position wise, but who's in the playoffs as of March 4th. I think it's going to be in the playoffs when it comes.
I really want to say I really want to say top 5, top 6 are almost. I don't want to say shoo-ins, but I feel they're guaranteed.
Yeah, I know Memphis will make it, but they lost Jeff Green. who I thought was a big part in their game, and Marc Gasol's out for the year. I don't see him. I may be wrong. I don't see him staying at 5, but that definitely can change.
I was gonna just say, moving on to the Eastern Conference, where it's much more.
Which, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Which is surprising. Even the top 10 teams are at or above 500, which is really, really rare for the Eastern Conference the last couple of years. I mean, Chicago is 10th, and they're 30-30. So is Washington. They're 30-30. Cleveland, Toronto. Cleveland's back and forth. It's hard to see. I think a lot of people predicted them coming in and just having a great year. And they're 42-17. You can't say they're not having a great year, but right. I think they were hyped up a little bit. Toronto, I think I stated last podcast that
the Drake Raptors.
Yeah, the Drake Raptors. Yeah, that they are the biggest surprise. They're a good team, but I think that they were the biggest surprise for me overall this year.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Them and Celtics. Celtics.
I was gonna say that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Them and the Celtics.
They both surprised me this year.
Did you hear all the drama behind LeBron and D Wade? They worked out together over the All-Star, and everybody's freaking out. And they're like, they're friends. They're having a break. They go on vacation all the time.
I'm pretty sure a lot of players worked out together over the All-Star.
It's just those two are just two iconic names in basketball right now. Detroit's 8, Indiana 7. Really, all 8 teams are very close.
Honestly, the top 10 teams, top 11, you could argue, are really close. You've got the Wizards and the Bulls behind only half a game. They're half a game out of the playoff run, really.
Which is crazy because the Spurs, Spurs and Warriors, Spurs are 3.5 games out in their second. Then the next team's 14 games out.
Right, yeah.
And you're looking at Orlando is 15.5, and they're 11th seed. They're the 11th seed right now.
Right, yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. But that's typically when it gets down to the bottom of the Eastern Conference bracket, kind of how it goes. Any movement from what you see right now?
I think the Bulls. I don't honestly. I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan.
Yeah.
But I like the Bulls.
I think once they get him back, I think they'll make a.
Yeah, I think they'll find a way to make the playoffs. I hope, anyways. I wouldn't be surprised if the Wizards made it. I'm kind of more surprised that the Pistons are in there.
They're having a good year. They've had some injuries. They played the Spurs pretty good. Spurs ended up beating them a couple nights ago, right. But
I like how all our stuff goes back to the
Spurs. Sorry. If anybody hasn't noticed, we're big Spurs fans.
But we try to look at everything.
Yeah. But just basketball fans in general. Right. But honestly, I think top 4 teams stay the same. You've got 2.5 games separating 5 through 11. 5 through 10. I could see that changing.
The one thing I was looking at from kind of differentiating the Eastern and the Western Conference, top 3 teams in the Western Conference, point differential, 11.2 for Golden State, 12.5 for San Antonio, and 6.8 for OKC. In the East, you have
5.
Cavs, Raptors, and Celtics at 5.7 Cavs, 4.6 Raptors, and 4.5 Celtics. So
yeah,
it's like the top 3 are so different.
Yeah,
it's kind of lopsided.
It's the West to lose this year, really. Unless a team gets to the championship and I may be wrong. Cleveland may. And I think maybe Toronto may upset Cleveland this year overall, and Toronto being representing the East.
It almost comes down every year to who's gonna be a surprise Cinderella story and beat LeBron. Yeah, that really is it. It was the Pacers. Yeah. It was it's just
which I feel the Pacers let a few guys go, let David West go, let Roy Hibbert go.
Right.
They did pick up, a few key names, but they're always you can't sleep on the Pacers. Yeah, they're 32-29. They're 7th, but if they were to fall to an 8th and play Cleveland in the first round, that'd be a hard matchup for Cleveland, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be.
Especially the way with PG-13's playing right now. I like I said, top 4 I don't see moving. 5 through 10, I mean, anything can happen. They're 2.5 games out, or 2.5 game differential from 5 to 10. So anything really can happen with that. Other than that, I mean,
there was one more thing. Well, actually, I believe you wanted to mention real quick about the NHL.
Yeah. Let's see. NHL. Really big story right now is Anaheim's rolling on a 10-game win streak, which is
they're doing really
third best this season. I know Blackhawks had a 12-game, and I can't remember who had the other one. But you have anything on NHL? Or soccer? Anything?
I had Barcelona.
I saw that.
Yeah, they're kind of on a tear right now. They've now surpassed the record that I think held for 25. No, I want to say 30 some odd years. And yeah, I'm sorry. They cracked the record set by Madrid in late 1980s. Say about 25 or so years. And I mean, Barcelona, you look at their roster, they have obviously Messi, Luis Suarez, Neymar, Gerard Piqué, Piqué, as they usually say. But they have such a special unit that it's not surprising that they've gone on such a tear. And I'm glad that they were able to beat that record. You think you have some stats real quick? I didn't want to impede on.
No. You're good. Keep going. I'm trying to look something up real quick. It's bothering me.
I love how it's always
stuff bothers me. I know.
Yeah. I think now that I'm thinking about it, it was 35 matches unbeaten.
Really?
Which is insane.
That's crazy.
Sorry, that was the only thing I think I forgot to mention was the
Florida Panthers were the other team. God, sorry.
There you go.
Florida Panthers was the third team for NHL. They had a 12-game win streak as well. I know we're flip-flopping back and forth.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Quick stat real quick before
the two sports we usually forget about. Sorry about that, guys.
The quick stat real quick. On March 4th tonight, basically that we're airing or recording this, Damian Lillard had another 50-point game. He scored another 50-point tonight, becoming just the second player in Trailblazers history with 2 career 50-point games. So,
and he's had just an amazing month. Well, it's only March, but I will say the past 2 weeks, an amazing 2 weeks.
Into February, after the All-Star game. Two big key a couple of buyouts. Joe Johnson was bought out, and it was then signed with the Heat. Andre Miller bought out by Minnesota and signed with the Spurs, and Kevin Martin as well. Actually, just tonight was bought out and signed with the Spurs, which are two. Not knowing Manu's health coming down to the end, he's predicted to. He's probable to play tomorrow, but they were talking about early next week or late next week. But he would be a great person to come in, filling in for injury. And he's averaging, I think, 10 points a game right now.
I feel like we're replacing Manu with more Manus.
Yeah,
like veterans who are savvy and know how to.
And which I read an article or a statement from Popovich that said that Andre Miller has the best IQ he's ever seen in basketball. Yeah. So
and coming from Pop,
it's great. So we'll see what it comes down to. I'm really really looking forward to Golden State San Antonio. We'll probably have another podcast before then, so we'll talk more about that later.
Absolutely.
But other than that, that's all we got. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Comment if you have anything that we're missing, or
absolutely,
if you have any ideas, or
if you want to see something on the show, let us know.
Yeah, definitely put in the comments, and we'll definitely get to it. So other than that,
see you next time.
See you.
Sports Pod.